Dubai's fall is now inevitable. Not long ago, Dubai was the destination to go to if you wanted to live the perfect life. The nightlife, skyscrapers, hotels, malls, cars, luxuries, experiences, and, foremost, the safety. You could walk the streets at 3 a.m. without squeezing your phone to your palm. And then, suddenly, people were spending over $350,000 just to escape that same place. I can't blame them. The elites, who were strangers to even street crimes, were seeing ballistic missiles coming their way. When Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran and a respected figure in Shia Muslims, was assassinated by the US and Israel in February of 2026, Iran retaliated by striking US military bases and assets in the neighboring Gulf countries. But Iran chose to hit the UAE a little harder, hitting with more missiles and drones than all other Gulf countries combined. Although the Emirates did a remarkable job intercepting about 90% of those projectiles, it cost them a huge sum. But that money was not a problem. The problem was the shrapnel of intercepted missiles that caused 13 fatalities, those 10% of projectiles that pierced through the air defense system, the panicking mobile phone alerts of incoming missiles, followed by the horrifying sound of those missiles getting intercepted. It was all more than enough to shatter the fake mirage of Dubai. Those few weeks of attacks completely ruined the reputation Dubai had taken decades to build. This was a disaster for the emirate. So now you might be thinking, hey, Orugzai, the same goes for other Gulf nations. Qatar, Bahrain, Oman are in the very same boat as the UAE. Yes, that's true. But the situation with Dubai is completely different. Even the UAE as a whole might recover. It is unlikely for Dubai. I'll explain, but first, let's go a bit back in time to understand the country and the city. The year was 1968. Harold Wilson, the UK's Prime Minister, had just made the historic announcement of leaving the Persian Gulf. As the UK prepared to withdraw, this man grew increasingly worried. The man was Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan, the ruler of Abu Dhabi. He knew that his state, along with the 6 other neighboring states, was small and weak. They had been under the UK's protection for over 150 years. Without that safety, they were easy prey for outside powers. Sheikh Zayed got to work. His diplomacy somehow worked. He was successful in bringing the states together as one single country. These states included Sharjah, Ajman, al-Quwain, Ras Al Khaimah, and also Dubai. So now the states that were once independently ruled by emirs were under a single federation. The emir of Abu Dhabi would be the president of the federation. Meanwhile, the emir of Dubai would work as the vice president. Before being part of the federation, these states relied on different sources of income. Among them, Abu Dhabi was the largest and most stable one with oil reserves. Other emirates were agricultural and fishing economies. Meanwhile, Dubai, with no oil or fertile land, depended on the dying pearl industry. At the peak of the pearl industry, Dubai was the heart of the global pearl trade, but when Japan found the way to mass-produce farmed pearls in the 1930s, Dubai's economy was hit severely hard. Dubai's pearl depression was a decades-long crisis. It wasn't until 1958 when Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed became the emir of Dubai. He is widely regarded as the founding father of modern-day Dubai. Under his rule, Dubai was lucky enough to find some small oil reserves. Instead of injecting the oil wealth directly into the Emirates' economy, he used this wealth to aggressively develop Dubai into a trading hub, building ports and modernizing the city. Rashid shifted the economy's backbone from oil to international logistics. This pivot ensured that even if the oil wells ran dry, Dubai would remain the critical middleman of global trade. Later, when Dubai became part of the federation, it changed everything. As the 7 states pooled their resources, Dubai took full advantage of the collective strength. It was during this period that the Jebel Ali port, the largest man-made harbor, and the Dubai World Trade Center were built. Things were going exponentially well for Dubai. This is the era that we know as the Golden Age of Development. Within the Middle East, it emerged as one of the most important trading hubs. It was building desalination plants, bridges, and tall buildings. Rashid continued to develop Dubai into a sustainable export and business hub until he died in 1990. Following tradition, his eldest son, Sheikh Maktoum, took the throne. But in 2006, when Maktoum suffered a fatal heart attack, his brother, Mohammed bin Rashid, succeeded him as the ruler of the city. And he took things to an extra level of insanity. He was getting into projects that even Nat Geo couldn't help but make documentaries on. Projects like the Palm Islands, Burj Khalifa, the incredible Dubai airport, the world's only 7-star hotel, and many, many more. Now, this is the point where we need to pause for a second and compare the two rulers. Modern Dubai saw only two monarchs, right? Sheikh Rashid and then his son Sheikh Mohammed. Even though they were father and son, their approach towards the city and the economy was vastly different. Rashid built the city's foundation on core business activities, but Mohammed pivoted toward luxury, tourism, and hospitality. Eventually, these high-end sectors evolved from side industries into the dominant drivers of the city's economy. Sheikh Mohammed realized that these sectors acted as a magnet for the world's elite. These wealthy individuals arrived with deep pockets, spending fortunes on Rolexes, jewelry, and designer brands. They stayed in hotels that cost an astronomical $15,000 to $20,000 per night, recklessly throwing cash at expensive dining and every luxury imaginable. Sheikh Mohammed wanted to turn these wealthy tourists into permanent residents. He realized that if he could transform Dubai from a tourist destination into a home for millionaires, it would create a continuous, uninterrupted source of income. To achieve this, he introduced major reforms. For the first time, expats could own property, golden visas and long-term residency permits were introduced, and he maintained a policy of zero personal income tax and low corporate taxes. In addition, laws regarding alcohol consumption and unmarried couples living together were significantly relaxed. The emirate eventually turned into a city that would do anything and go to any length just to attract and then retain millionaires, even if it meant tolerating illegal activities. There was no accountability for all sorts of wealth. Dubai wouldn't care if your money is dirty. As long as you add it to its economy, it's all good. This made the city the perfect destination for those high-profile criminals who wanted to live the perfect life. You have made a ton of money from crimes, running drug cartels, scams, Ponzi schemes, corruption. Well, Habibi, come to Dubai. Your new home won't ask any questions, but instead, it may give you an extra layer of protection. This state-level protection of the rich meant that the elites can visit the city and commit crimes, not be possible in their home countries. In 2025, the BBC debunked the rumors of wild sex parties in Dubai. They found out it was actually a reality. The whole thing is called Dubai Porta Potty. Investigative journalism by the BBC exposed one of the many sex traffickers. In short, he would trick young African girls into giving up hope of jobs in the city. Once arrived, he would trap them into forced sex work. Victims reported that his clients, mostly white European men, would have extreme fetishes. I highly recommend reading the whole article. I'll link it in the pinned comment. The bizarre thing is that these girls did approach the police. The response? You Africans cause problems for each other. We don't want to get involved. Let's visualize the city's demographics. There were around 81,000 millionaires, 237 centimillionaires, and around 20 billionaires. These mega-rich made up around 2% of the total population. Then, there is the professional middle class, making around 10%. Lastly, the labor workforce makes up about 80% of the population. The city is built on these people, or slaves, according to every human rights organization, international news outlet, and labor advocacy group. I can dedicate an entire 1-hour documentary just to what these slaves go through. Trust me, it is unimaginable. They die and they commit suicide. Nonetheless, it isn't just Dubai, it happens in other Gulf countries too. Dubai's economy functioned as a closed loop between two demographic extremes. The ultra-rich spent lavishly on a skyline built and maintained by an invisible labor force. In this cycle, the city and its elite flourished while the poor is marginalized. This pattern stays the same in every sector, whether at a high-end restaurant or on a desert safari. Business owners charged premium prices that the wealthy paid without a second thought, while the people who power the experience earn only a fraction of the profit. Now, I'm not a socialist, but there is something called labor laws. The Gulf should learn about them. When Iran targeted the UAE, the entire system collapsed. Rich expats paid for private jets and fled the city, abandoning their businesses, luxury cars, properties, and even their pets. In a matter of days, a massive chunk of foreign investment vanished. With COVID-style lockdowns and a wave of fear among tourists, the tourism sector, which accounts for 12% of the country's total GDP, hit rock bottom. The economic cycle shattered instantly. The businesses that once sustained the labor workforce went out of business, leaving them unable to pay the most vulnerable class. This triggered mass layoffs and furloughs. When a country faces such a crisis, the only thing that holds it together is its people. Strong countries are based on nations. It is the unity among the people, the readiness to make sacrifices, the ability to endure hardships, and the deep emotional connection with their homeland that make up a nation. Dubai have none of that. It is just made of millionaires with criminal backgrounds and enslaved labor that lived on crumbs left by the millionaires. They had no sentimental connection, deep love, or sympathy towards the emirate. When things got heated, they simply quit, destroying the fake mirage of Dubai. They didn't care about the city, they didn't even care about their pets. Thousands of pets were left on the streets to die in the desert heat. The war tested Dubai as a safe space for the super rich, and the city has failed miserably. Once trust is broken, it rarely gets restored. The world wasn't already happy with the UAE funding the RSF, causing a genocide in Sudan, a conflict that has claimed 400,000 lives in just 2 years. But the Emirates' stance on supporting Israel and opposing ceasefire efforts has put them in a position where it becomes hard for even other Muslim countries to put trust in them. The gains from compromising morality are almost always short-lived. For Dubai, the dildo of consequences has arrived, and it isn't lubricated. They are going to feel it. Hey, if you liked this one, give it a like and subscribe as well. Let's end this one with a quote from the father of Dubai. "My grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. I drive a Mercedes. My son drives a Land Rover. His son will drive a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel."